Hi everyone, Miss Michelle Fixit, otherwise known as Michelle Fixit. Today is June the 4th, 2023. So I got off the phone with my daddy cat dog, and because I was asking for some advice from him, because he knows all like the old school remedies and stuff like that, and someone near and dear to me recently found out that they have really high blood pressure. And so I called him and I was like, hey, what's a old school, crunchy, heart healthy way to decrease your blood pressure? Because I knew that he had some experience in that. And he told me about like Hollywood safflower oil, because it's at one point, whenever he was like in his 30s, I think, he had high blood pressure, got on the high blood pressure medication, did a lot of diagnostic testing, and was given a lot of different stuff. And then I guess he talked to like old timers about everything, and they were talking about the Hollywood safflower oil, which if I did it through the Amazon Fresh stuff, then they would have had it. And then I would have had to order other stuff, so I haven't been able to procure that one yet. The other one is like lecithin. I'll give it to you guys in phonetics in just a second. I'm just trying to like share knowledge, and we're gonna run some tests on it to see like what happens. But like based off of minimal research on it, I haven't fully checked it out. But because I trust my dad's knowledge on things, it's lecithin. So it's in phonetics. It's Lima Echo Charlie India Tango Hotel India November. And so it does say that it can be taken as a dietary supplement. Some studies have found that lecithin supplements may help reduce cholesterol, lower blood pressure, and improve symptoms of ulcerative colitis or colitis. They also provide a source of choline, a nutrient that's essential for cellular health and nervous system function. So that was fantastic. And then of course, the related questions and everything on like who shouldn't be taking it, and it goes over like if you're pregnant, if you're breastfeeding, and the person that needed the assistance on that, because everyone calls me for everything, is a male, in their 40s, and they also have like they have a bicuspid aortic valve, which if you guys didn't know about that, that's it's a rather rare but common, like 0.8% to 2% of the population has it. It's whenever you have a bicuspid in your for your aortic valve, and so it's just like one instead of three, and so it will prematurely wear out. It does require and this is a little known thing because the person didn't know, because they were like, yeah, they found out about it whenever I was in my 20s, and I had never known about it. And so like I have started to research this condition because I didn't really know much about it myself, and I love learning about new things, especially medical stuff, because Charlie Cat, also known as Baby Hulk, I've been able to learn a lot about heart health and abnormalities. Like he was born with atrial septal defects, which did spontaneous resolve, so we're like super excited about that because he doesn't have a cardiovascular doctor anymore. But it's just one of those things where when I talk to my cardiologist about it, because I have access to really, 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 really good doctors, like most of my doctors are at Johns Hopkins, because the rental / second home for our family is like 5-6 minutes away from the main campus for Johns Hopkins, and at the hospital, not the university. And I didn't know that whenever I bought it, but like the neighborhood's improving. It's really great. So I have like a lot of equity in that house, and I'm very proud of that because that's like completely premarital property, and just something that like I own some dirt and I own a structure, and it's if anything ever happens, like nobody can take it away from me. Like it's it's a nice little safety net, because after everything that I've been through in my life, I require backups and safety plans and stuff like that. So anyways, so it's really great because like when Charlie was born, we were able to book him with literally some of the best doctors that this country has to offer. And so not only does that house help us with like taxes and stuff like that, and it is an investment property as well. Like it's a homeowner occupied property that's also an investment property. It's like this wonderful little space that it kind of helps us with different things. But anyways, we had access to the best doctors for that, and then his clubfoot doctor, who is one of the best in the whole entire country, who is, you know, sadly semi-retiring. It's like 20 minutes away from his further away location that has a main emphasis on the limb lengthening and the clubfoot work, like the Clubfoot Fridays. So, I mean, it's just kind of like if Patterson was a person, that'd be a really great person that just really helps you out and like wraps your arms around you and just makes you feel safe and comfy. And like that's Patterson for us. That's what I call the house. And then there's like a really cool park across, like down the road, and then there's a park literally across the street. Like there's all these different things that like just make it where it's awesome. But anyways, if you have high blood pressure, try those two things. My neighbor cat also gave me some stuff to help the individual, and so I have some research to do with that, and I'm going to be ordering stuff on Amazon. Like we're going to give it everything we can, because this person is scheduled with a regular cardiologist. But then through my research, we found that like they need to be seeing someone that has an emphasis on the bicuspid aortic valve, because they didn't know. They just knew that like at some point they might need to have the valve changed out, and they've been just kind of deferring to very minimal basic knowledge from their regular cardiologist. And so as soon as I started deep diving, which I haven't even fully deep dived in it, I found out that like, no, you need to have like a surgical cardiologist that's checking you out every year or every other year. You need to be having an MRI done of your heart to see if you're prematurely wearing out the valves, because like you have a propensity to have a calcification builds up, and so that prematurely like rounds out those valves, because like the valves are supposed to be like flat and they're supposed to like open up like this, and then like over time, because of calcification, the leaflets they start to like pull in, and so then that creates regurgitation, which is like when the blood is like backing up essentially into the pipes. And then you need a thoracic cardiologist if you have a cardiologist, and it would be best if you have one that has an emphasis on that specific congenital abnormality and or disorder. So when I started giving all that information to the person, they're like, oh, I didn't know any of that. Like they were just like, yeah, you might need stuff. And then it turns out that like because my cardiologist, when I mentioned that like I knew someone that had the bicuspid aortic valve, she was like, do they have a surgical like she was like, that's a big deal. That's not a little deal at all. She's like, Michelle, like that is the big deal. Like, do they have a thoracic cardiologist? I was like, I don't think so. They have a cardiologist. And she's like, no, thoracic cardiologist. And I was like, okay. And then she was like, do they have a surgical thoracic cardiologist? And I was like, no, they don't. She's like, okay, well, this is one of those conditions where like we get frustrated as cardiologists because someone might not know, like, and if they're diagnosed, then like they should have known this. Someone would have told them this, that like, you know, basically you can prematurely wear out your valve, and like 80% of the people with this condition are going to end up needing a valve replacement because it does prematurely wear out because of like leaflet stuff. And she gave this whole thing, and she was like, and you know, a lot of cardiologists won't get to these patients until they're like in really poor condition, because like most of them don't know that they have this condition, because it can present as like a murmur, and they just hear about it, and then we get them, and then like the surgeons will get them on their table, and they're like dissecting, and they have all these issues, and like this is a big deal. And like with preventative care, then you won't just like randomly have an aortic aneurysm or a dissection or like all these different things. And I was like, oh, I'm glad that I asked you, because like you're really opening up my eyes, because like I'm the person that people ask about stuff, and like now I know if I hear bicuspid aortic valve, it's like, hey, you gotta go see these doctors, because like this is a life-threatening medical condition, congenital medical condition. Like you're born with it, you can't do anything about it, and like if you find out that you have it, earlier, then like you can help yourself. And so now I've got to like join some of the Facebook groups and be like, hey, people out there, can you like give me some of your stuff, like your info? Because like I care about this person and like I need to know all this stuff at a super fast rate because like they're in their 40s and most people need to have a valve replacement like between 45 and 50. Please help. Because like, you know, in some of my other videos, I grump about the clubfoot moms. Like some of them are like all grumpy and stuff, but some of them are really good. And then like I have a Chiari malformation, and like I had to just even learn how to say that. And I have like all these super special things, like diagnosed things, that just like fell through the radar for some reason, or like fell through the cracks. So I'm on like this whole medical discovery thing where it's like, oh wow, this girl has a lot of stuff, but like somehow she does stuff. So either people are gonna be like, oh wow, she's totally making this up, and I'm like, no, I can go on my chart and I can show you that I have a Chiari neurosurgeon that I have a consult with. I have a Chiari neurologist that I have stuff with, and then I have a regular headache and migraine neurologist, and I have a cardiologist. I don't have like atrial septal defect or bicuspid aortic valve or anything like that. But I did have cardiomegaly, and I did have pulmonary hypertension, and I did have an aortic valve dilation, which has since resolved, but not all the way resolved. I went from a 3.9, then I had a cardiovascular issue recently that landed me in the emergency room. I went down to a 3.7, and as of a few days to a week ago, I'm at a 3.5. And I am in the midst of getting tested for getting cardiogenetics blood work done. I haven't been in there yet. Like all these super specialists for all these super rare things, they take a long time to see, and they take a long time to book out and stuff like that. I was diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, and hyperflexibility. I meet all the criteria for the Brighton, I don't know, one of them, the Brighton scale. If you guys don't know, I'll make a video on that. So I have a lot of stuff. And then my cardiologist thinks that I have a cardioconnective tissue syndrome. So I am in the midst of trying to figure out stuff with the Luis-Diaz syndrome, which I'm super excited because if I do have that, I'm not excited about having something wrong with me, but I am excited because whenever I got in with the cardio, the cardiogenetics people, and my chart has a letter of like, hi, welcome to the like thing from Dr. Diaz. And like, if you guys aren't able to like put two and two together, the Louis guy, I think he's like a doctor in like Denmark or somewhere besides here. And then the Louis Diaz guy, he, you're gonna love this. They named a building after this guy, and that's where the clinic is for the cardiogenetics thing, because he's one of the two doctors that discovered this like really rare syndrome that they didn't even know about it until 2005, and they went from like a or a couple genetic markers tests because they just had all these people just randomly dying. Yeah, I know, it's just bad news. Like the average lifespan for this disorder is 37 years old. And I may or may not be in that age range. And then for the men, it's like 40. And like they just had all these like otherwise seemingly healthy people just like dropping dead. And so they're like, hey, maybe we should like take blood samples from these people and run some genetic tests and find out if like there's a correlation there, and like their little hearts are just ballooning up. So I'm trying to laugh about it, but it's like literally if I have this disorder or this syndrome, I get to meet the guy that figured it out in 2005, which is a year after like a significant thing for me. I'm just like, I can literally meet the guy that was smart enough to figure out the me's. Like that's, and then like there's a me doctor, Dr. Henderson, that I'm like trying to catch up with. Like he's awesome. He's got all this cool stuff out there. I would love to talk to him. He's who I've like called my me doctor because like he's a super special Chiari doctor, and like he's made some profound influences in there. So you want to learn about medical stuff? Like I'll give you all the medical stuff because like I'm on a medical journey discovery thing. And like, I am very proficient in the rare and weird, unique things at this point in my life because of my medically complex son, and then finding out that like, I might be a little medically complex too. But for some reason, I've been able to like keep working and stuff. So I have like really minimal tolerance for like, oh, my whatever is bothering me, so I can't do whatever's. And I'm like literally looking at brain surgery. Literally my heart almost exploded. Literally had a knee surgery. Like, I've had a bunch of stuff happen with me. So yeah, I've got a lot of information on a lot of different topics, and I fully help you guys out with that. And I don't have my necklace or my earrings on. Because I just woke up from my cat nap. Because like my blood pressure just like bottomed out, and I told husband cat, I was like, I gotta go to sleep. Anyways, whole video was on bicuspid aortic valve stuff, and I kind of train wrecked all over the place, but it was a good exchange of information. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions about anything specific, if I know the stuff, I will let you know. If I don't know the stuff, I will research it and maybe go down the Ask Me hole and be like blah 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 blah. And if you have a medically complex child, I know a lot about different syndromes and stuff like that. So, and I owe a video to a really cool lady that I met today, who has 2 wonderful little children, and I'm like, hey, here's your starting points on stuff, because we were having like an addictive exchange of information. And then like, I super like her husband. And my husband likes her husband because he does like commercial HVAC stuff. And I'm like, we got some HVAC stuff over here. And like, he wasn't even phased. And I'm like, yeah, I did these things, and like, I know about this stuff. He's like, okay, cool. I'm like, yes, this is a solid guy. Not like, yeah, right, you know, you're the chick in the dress. He was really awesome. And he connected to things for me that like I didn't understand, because I understand all about the gas forced air furnaces because the house is in Baltimore. And then I understand about the boiler systems and the oil and stuff like that. And of course, like water heaters. I understand a lot of complex to simple systems because my brain works that way. And I was like, hey, I don't understand cognitively how this and this are working with this exchange, because this, in my mind, is an air thing, an air cooling thing. And he explained how it basically worked in reverse and was able to show me like the different thing and like how it flips and stuff. And I was like, this is brilliant. And then he was like, capacitor, and I was like, oh, so dumb on my part. Didn't even think about that, because I haven't even like done anything with it yet, because I'm super busy. And like, we have air conditioners in our window units right now because I haven't had time to like triage the HVAC. I know people are out there like, why don't you just go on air conditioner? I'm like, because I'm cheap. 1, I'm cheap. 2, they want to change out parts. Hold on, I'm making a video, Izzy. Izzy, give me a second. Okay, yes, that's fantastic. Give me 1 second, please.
Daddy got it for me.
That's great. So Daddy got her this for her room, which these things are awesome. If you guys don't have one, I sent one of these to a turquoise butterfly in California, because like, they don't have air conditioning and it's really hot in California. And I was like, bacadas. So anyways, this video is way longer and does sidetrack much like the other videos do. But the title of this video should be like, high blood pressure, possibly bicuspid aortic valve. And this is what I'm going to do. I'm just going to make videos, little tidbits, and you guys are going to catch me in the bathroom. Like, that's like the TikTok thing to do. And like, people make videos in their bathroom, and I'm going to be pretty much the same thing. We're like, this is going to be an exchange of information. If you guys have like cheats on stuff, because like, sometimes I will say life hacks, but I don't like saying that because I feel like that's, somebody else owns that as a term, and I just don't like it. And then, so it's like the life hacks. I think it's mainly that one. And a lot of the times I say cheats. Like, if you know someone that's an expert in a certain level of knowledge, then it's like they're your cheat. So same thing with me. But anyways, you guys have a fantastic day. I'll see you next time. Bye.